to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off into fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Jay. This is Guilty of Crime.
Hello, everybody. It's Monday. We made it to the weekend, barely. How's everybody doing today? I'm glad there were some folks waiting for me here. Normally I come in and people are just rolling in. So I wanted to say hello. I want to say hello to Joyce. I like the comment. I hate this speech to text. I cannot pick up on my accent. That's funny. That's me all the time when I'm texting. But what I wanted to talk about with the speech is more than that. And I'm going to start out the show saying that. And good evening, Stephanie, Davey, my man. I see you in here. M, hello. And Maria. To the mods, yes. Deb, what's up? What's up, everybody? So this week's going to be a giant week, folks. It's going to be a real big week. I can feel it coming. Thank you for patiently waiting, Jan on the Lamb. I appreciate this so much. I appreciate each and every single one of you. The way you can support my channel is by hitting that like button. You don't have to donate if you don't have the means. If you do, fantastic. Diane, thank you so very much. I'm glad that I have some appreciation in this community, as lately this weekend was we'll say there was a shit storm. Okay. So I wanted to have a nice Sunday, and I'm not going to get into details because Guilty of Crime is not about Jay Scott. Jay Scott is about Guilty of Crime. Okay. Jay Scott, which is me, the host and the creator of this show. I am about bringing light to those who can't do it for themselves. And today we're talking about Sebastian ROGERS. We're talking about Sebastian ROGERS, and we're talking about him being missing and nobody has found him. We're talking about a storm of drama, which seems to be the theme on YouTube as of late. I won't watch anything or anyone who gives Chris a voice. I absolutely am not giving Chris a voice. Smash that like button. Chris's voice is not really Chris's voice, okay? Chris's voice is one that I believe is covering for Katie. I truly believe that he is distracting from Sebastian ROGERS being brought home. We are Sebastian ROGERS strong, okay? I want you to know that I appreciate you, Cindy, for saying I think you do a wonderful job. Haters are going to hate. You still rock, and you still rock because you guys are all here. Thank you, M. Thank you, Davey. Now, I want to say, and yes, please, only donate if you have the means. Liking, sharing, and subscribing is free, and you can support the channel. And I would appreciate you supporting the channel. I appreciate you, Monica, so very much. Again, I am Jay Scott with Guilty of Crime. I represent the folks that can't represent themselves. This show's not about me. And this weekend, it said a lot about people out there in the YouTube world with what went on with me behind the scenes. So first of all, I want to say any commentary that I have, any point of views that I have, I'm not going to apologize again. I made one apology, and I'm never going to apologize unless I get the details incorrect. And I come back and I tell you here the corrected details. Now, I have the freedom of speech and the freedom of expression to say as I please. I promise you that I will be mindful when I do that. But the freedom of expression says the First Amendment guarantees me the right to express ideas and information. It means that people, including me, can express an opinion, even an unpopular one, or an unsavory one, without fear of government censorship. Now, I do not work for the government or with the government, and I never, ever will. You see this right here, these tattoos? That means I'm anti-government. I will not work with them in any manner if I could not be me, and I have to be censored. So I will no longer be censored, folks. My apology was heartfelt because I personally got a phone call from people that were offended, and out of the kindness of my heart, I wanted to apologize because that is how I am. I'm an empath and I love people and I don't want to lose people. But if my opinion doesn't jive with you, then please don't come back to my channel. Don't talk about me. Don't watch me. If you feel like doing that, then do something else and look for a missing child, donate to a missing child, or help find one, or a missing person. Okay. Today we're here talking about Sebastian ROGERS, and I have 3 things to say about Sebastian ROGERS. Number 1, Katie's hiding behind Chris, okay? She's hiding behind Chris, and that's why he's being so loud. Number 2, the TBI messed this case up from the beginning, and they're still not fixing it. And the number 3 thing is Sebastian may never be found because of the mistakes that are being made right now as I speak. Thank you so much, Jan on the Lamb. You are not guilty of crime. You're guilty of honesty, and I appreciate you. I was very honest and sincere in my apology to the people that I offended, and I only said that. I didn't only say that. I said that out of my heart because I offended people that I care about. Thank you, Annette, for becoming a new member. We are going to have a members only live, and we are going to talk about Guilty of Crime and how it was created. We are going to talk about me. We're going to talk about my personal life, and we're going to put the haters on blast, folks. But when we're doing shows about Sebastian, about Madeline, which is coming tomorrow, Madeline Soto, Elijah Vu, anybody, Sade Robinson, little Corey Michelo, any of these people, the pastor's wife, which everybody else is covering today, and I'm not going to get into that. I have the freedom of speech and the freedom of expression here, and I'm going to do that. It protects my ability to speak and my protection to receive information from you folks, and to use that information in the way that I please. And the way that I please is not to hurt others, it's to help others. So if anybody has anything to say about me or about my content, please feel free to do so. But I will not apologize for my points of view. Okay? That being said, I don't work with the government. I don't work with anybody that can tell me how I can express my opinions, my thoughts, and my feelings. And everything I'm speaking about is alleged until somebody is proven to be guilty of crime, until they have been prosecuted. If you haven't been prosecuted and I'm still coming after you, I'm still going to come after you with my words if I choose to do so. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all. Yes, The Pastor's Wife sounds like a pretentious Oscar bait movie. Absolutely. There's not enough information for me yet to say anything about it other than, yes, the gentleman, I don't even know if he's a gentleman, because honestly, I don't know what he did other than cheat on his wife and then hold a giant funeral for her. Everything that I've heard right now is bad, but I don't know enough about the case to get into it like everybody else did, and I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm not going to jump on here for likes and subscribes. That's not what I'm doing here. I didn't come here for that, okay? Yeah, Libra, don't apologize for anything I say. Like Deception Detective said, never apologize for anything. I did because I love these people and I care about them. And you know that now, and if you don't, then you gotta hit the road, folks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry. Jess, I missed you. Had to make my husband a smoothie and pack some pork chops. Greeting. Okay, so the 3 things I said today. Katie's hiding behind Chris. Absolutely. That is what I believe. Have I said that Katie and Chris, I believe, that are not only culpable, but lying immensely about Sebastian and his last whereabouts? Absolutely. And the third thing, I've said it from the beginning, I think they're looking for the body of Sebastian ROGERS, folks. I love you all and I love your opinions, and I hope with all my heart that he is found and brought home safe and alive. But do I believe that is the case? Absolutely not. Something happened that night. Something bad happened. And I do not believe that he will come back alive. All right? That is my opinion, and I've said that from the beginning. Please hit that like and subscribe. And the reason I want the like and subscribe button, that is not why I'm here. I want to get in the algorithm so I can have an actual voice. So I'm not called a low-level YouTuber. Apparently, if you don't have enough subscribers or likes, you're low-level YouTubers now. I didn't know there was such a thing, but apparently I don't have enough. Apparently, because I don't buy my subscribers, that I'm a low-level one. And YouTube's algorithm apparently likes me now because, what, I'm gay? Is that what it is? I don't know. There was a lot of drama going on this weekend, folks. I tried to rest on Sunday, and man, I just got a shitstorm come at me. And I can honestly, to God, say this on my daughter. I did nothing wrong to deserve any of this, okay? All right, that's enough about me. We're going to have a members only. We're going to have a members only where I can get this all out, okay? Low level is a matter of opinion, which I reject. I appreciate you. He's playing dumb, but playing chess. And we're talking about Chris here. I agree. Every creator started out the beginning. Yes, and every creator doesn't buy their subscribers, sir. You know who I'm talking to when I say you buy your subscribers, sir. I do not. Thank you very much. Low level. Never heard of that either. Pay no mind. No, you know what? When you fuel my fire and you get me going, I'm not going to stop. That means I'm not going to stop in the justice for these people and the cases that I'm covering. That's the only reason I'm here, is because I'm into true crime and I have the voice for it. Okay, folks? Thank you for being a new subscriber. All right. I think Seth is engaging in a game of wits and trying to get the truth out to a couple. Well, listen, folks, this is what I have to say. And yes, apparently I had no idea. I have no idea that you could buy subscribers, but now I do know. I'm learning all kinds of YouTube things. So I bought subscribers. Somebody bought subscribers, and somebody else is buying subscribers, but it's not me, folks. All right. I am sick of the trolling clowns. Damn, I wish I could get a membership. Maybe you'll get gifted one, okay? You're going to be here. You're going to stay here. You're going to subscribe, and we'll get you one somehow. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Dreamer G. Thank you, Jess. But buy me. I am expensive. LOL. I don't need to buy you. You come on over. When you have 1,000 subs every 2 weeks and none in between, folks, you're buying subscribers. Okay? 0 subscribers. None every day. And then all of a sudden 1,000. None, and 1,000. You, sir, are buying subscribers. I'm a new YouTuber. Let's get that straight. Thank you. It's not the trolls, I am Two Bear. It's not the trolls. It's the real YouTubers. Apparently there's real ones and there's low-level ones. All right, Nerdy Cat. Nerdy Cat just bought 10 memberships. So if you want a membership, get one now. Get in there, turn your opted on. Let's go. About your loving these amazing comments about your lovely crime boss, babe Jay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Janine. Love the name. Yeah, sadly, you could buy subscribers, and I do not do that. I didn't come here for that. I have a real job, folks. 17 years at my real job. I'm the CEO of a mechanical engineering company in the Bay Area, folks. I have a job. All right, enough about that. My day on Sunday, instead of resting, I got blasted by some big YouTubers. They weren't trolls, guys. I'll tell you that much. Thank you, Nerdy Cat. Get a membership. Dreamer G just got a membership. Yes. Best name, Janine. Love it. So excited to have awarded it. Thank you, Jan on the Lamb. See, you gotta thank Nerdy Cat. No need to buy them if you're doing what you're doing. If you treat people right, they treat you right. A lesson in life. I have almost 45 years treating people right, and it comes back. Go figure. All right. If your channel is branded, you can't get gifted. Some don't know that. I did not know that. All right. I don't know what you mean by branded, but congrats to all the new members. How could you be jealous of me? What? All right, folks. Now that we got that out of the way, we got things to focus on today, and that's Sebastian Rogers. So now that you're all in here, Melly Michelle, you're not late whatsoever. We're going to have a members-only JoJo for show, and that's going to tell y'all what was the blasting. We don't need to talk about that right now. It is not the time. Right now is the time to talk about Sebastian Rogers so we can find him, folks. Let me actually pull this video up first. I'm hoping to at some point, and I hope some point soon, collaborate with this gentleman here, like Deception Detective, and like other folks. I would love to work with CJ from Evil Exists. Let's start with this, folks. We're going to go in fast, and we're going to go hard today.
Is still missing, and I can't help but wonder when an update will come from law enforcement. They had that photo, and apparently video footage of a boy resembling Sebastian in North Carolina, but still no word on whether that boy is Sebastian or not. They're probably working on locating this boy to make sure of his identity. Chris is still speaking out online, while Katie remains silent. Seth has a new spokesperson, who not many are happy about. Some are even calling him a fraud, and saying that he only joined the Find Sebastian group to get in touch with the parents. He is also the spokesperson in the Caleb Harris case. Anyway, we should always remember Sebastian. He is the main focus, and still somewhere out there. I don't believe he walked away from his home. I believe something happened to him, and there are people that know exactly what happened, but won't speak out. Anyway, today I want to share 2 videos with you that I found on Cleminati's channel. If you don't know her channel, it's linked below. The first one is of Sebastian at a bowling alley. I don't think it was on the day he vanished, even though he went bowling on that day too. He seems to be enjoying the bowling, and having a fun time. The second video is of him at some game, also seems very happy and dancing around. My heart breaks for this child, after information keeps coming out from neighbors, etc. Just absolutely sad because I think he went through more than we know.
All right, folks, I want to call this out to you. Please pay attention. We're talking about Sebastian Rogers. I want you to pay attention to how he moves, what his demeanor is, how he talks, what he looks like, who Sebastian Rogers really is, because you don't ever get a sense of it in the pictures that his parents show. And I'm not talking about Seth. I'm talking about Chris and Katie. In the pictures that they show these pictures and they talk about him like he wouldn't know how to find his way to a trash can if he needed to, folks. And this gives you a better idea. So if you actually do see him, or somebody sees him, or you see a picture, or you see his demeanor, this is what we want to keep an eye out for, folks. Yeah, photo is confirmed. It's no resignation of Sebastian, but I haven't heard anything on the video. I want you to watch his demeanor and pay attention. We're looking for Sebastian. We're not looking for drama on YouTube. And this was not drama for me at YouTube at the beginning. This is my life. Okay? This is not drama. This is my life. And this is what's happening. And we're going to do a members only so that we can talk about what's actually really going on. Watch his demeanor. I'm going to go back a little bit. Thank you, CJ from Evil Exists, and the person that showed this video.
It's sad because I think he went through more than we know.
All right. Now, you all remember, I don't know why this is spinning here because it absolutely shouldn't be unless there's a problem. There better not be a problem with the internet. All right. Stop sharing for a second and let's see what happens. Okay, everybody. Just like I Am Two Bear said, posture, stance, and mannerisms. That's how you can tell. Justice for Sebastian. Okay. I have doubted about the talk about autism from the start. I know autistic people that I never knew would have known about it if they hadn't told me. And you're correct. That's why it's hard to tell who he is, who we're looking for, what's really going on, because there's too many false things going around. And the parents, Chris and Katie, are the ones that are spreading it from day one. Katie, we're coming after you. I'm coming after Ashton. I'm coming after you, and you're hiding behind Chris. You're responsible. You claim to be there. You had him on the phone for 3 hours, and we're looking for you. You should be telling us how your son really is. All right? I don't believe you from day one at all. None whatsoever. Nothing at all that you say means a thing anymore. I don't know how you buy subs. I don't buy subs. I have no idea. I don't want to know. My roof has not been fixed, folks. Thank you, though, for saying that. I'm going to be out of my house for months. I'm only filming in the studio, and then I'm back to the hotel. All right. So, listen here. I said we're coming after Katie. We're coming after Katie, but we got to come after Chris because she's hiding behind Chris. All right? There's a lot of things that have come up. I don't know what happened to the video I was going to play. I wonder if it got pulled down. Hold on. There it actually is. I wonder what happened. All right. So this is how I know that Katie's hiding behind Chris and Chris is all over. And I wouldn't be surprised if he comes on here today and starts talking shit. I'd be more than happy to entertain him. Yeah. Room service and a nice bed. I don't believe Katie. I'm coming for Katie. Katie, I'm coming for you. Chris, if you want to come for me, come get some. All right? From the first time I heard her say when I woke up he wasn't there, and she went back to the kitchen after she had already walked through the kitchen. Tell me why you'd go look in the kitchen when you just walked through the kitchen and he wasn't there. All right. Thank you, Michelle. I love this channel. Honestly, only 2 people I watch. You, Michelle After Dark, always the truth, no drama. Drama is not good, folks. Let's spread the love, not the drama. I'm with you, girlfriend. I'm with you, Lisa Rue, and all the new people that are here. Doctorate Psychology said she has deleted syndrome. I'm sure another channel is heavily covered in this channel and has a doctorate in psychology. Said he has some kind of deleted something interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that. He has been using a voice box hoax. I'm sure he has. That's the dumbest thing that you could ever do. We haven't even, we have months, folks. We have months. The construction company doesn't even come until tomorrow to do a quote. I have asbestos. The asbestos has to be ripped out first. It's a whole process. How does a guy who's supposed to be working spend his entire day on YouTube? You want to hear this? Oh, we're going to hear this. Let's listen to this now. That's a perfect segue into this next video, folks. I'm glad you asked that. Wow. How do cranes run in the middle of the night? That's what I want to know. That was a good question, man. Some people have good questions and some people have dumb questions. And this lady has a good question. And if I have to go back to her channel, I believe it's RSO or CSO. Let's go. Let's go, folks.
Foot has been doing some serious looking around online, probably trying to find out exactly what's being said about him. It seems that public opinion matters more to him than going out there searching for his stepson, Sebastian Rogers. Take a listen how he paused when Emma asked him if he was out searching.
So,
I mean,
have you
it's
been?
true. I mean,
Have you been searching today? Then have you been busy?
I work nights, so I'm just now getting up, and this is what I got up to here.
Oh, you've been on nights.
Yeah,
On a
I'm actually having to go back to work. I actually go back to work.
Do they use cranes during the night?
Cranes run 24/7
Oh,
on
do
certain
they?
job sites.
Oh, here, over here they don't.
Deception Detective, I would love for you to be able to analyze this CSO video. If you're on here, if you're not on here, I'm going to share this with you. There's a full video on this lady's channel, CSO, and she did some justice here. That big pause that he just did right now, oh boy. Oh boy. Let's replay that a little bit. I heard this entire video, but I don't want to play the whole thing because the accent gets me and it's just long, and I'd like you guys to go to Crime Stories Obsessed, and I'd love for Deception Detective to check this out.
Been searching today then? Have you been busy?
I work nights, so I'm just now getting up, and this is what I got up to here.
Oh, you've been on nights.
Yeah,
On a
I'm actually having to go back to work. I actually go back to work.
Do they use cranes during the night?
Cranes run 24/7
Oh,
on
do
certain
they?
job sites.
Oh, here, over here they don't.
They
Everything's
may not
nice.
run like that over in Europe.
That was a big pause in the answer, right? I don't think he knew exactly what to say about that. Yeah, they should search construction sites. They should start over. When I'm done with this, I'm going to tell you what I mean by they should start over.
I'm not sure.
No,
I can't. I'm not going to speak for Europe.
Interesting, isn't it? Anyway, yesterday a bunch of messages emerged on Facebook, and it seems that Chris is still in the comment section replying to people. What is he trying to prove? I think there are more productive ways to use his time, such as joining the volunteers that are out there trying to find Sebastian. In one of these messages, he even goes as far as to threaten one of the women. A lady named Sally said, "Where's Sebastian, tough guy?" Chris responds saying, "Probably in your house." Let's just forward this to the TPI. Sally says, "Forward it then." Chris could have left the conversation there, but he had to take it a step further and ask Sally what makes her think he is guilty. What proof does she have? His post reads, "Let me guess, you sit at home and watch whatever you watch, and write down all the bullshit the web sleuths think they know. You formulate your opinion based on that. Funny thing is you weren't there, nor have you been involved in the investigation, and law enforcement doesn't talk to you. So you don't actually know shit, do you? That's right, you don't. See, if I were you, I would just sit back and watch how all this ends, because harassment is a real thing, and so is a cease and desist letter. Yes, ma'am, you can be tracked down and all your information can be found as well. Just some food for thought for you to consider." Sally then responds saying, "It's all a game for you. No one is afraid of you, Sebastian was though." Chris replies and says, "Not a game, ma'am, but fuck around and find out." Can you imagine? This is the stepfather of a missing child, making threats to women online. I think people are getting sick and tired of Chris trying to boss everyone around and be in control of every situation.
All right, folks. I know you heard every second of that. If you didn't hear that, you gotta go back.
Christopher Proudfoot has
Hold
been
on.
doing some
I'm not even going back. I'm just going to this part where he, and you got to go check out the CSO one. I mean, look at what he's saying. I'm just keeping this up so that I can actually piss him off. I hope that he hears about this and he gets pissed off, because I'd love to talk to him. I sure wouldn't let him punk me. I wouldn't let him call me a slut like I heard him calling other people on other channels. We're looking for Sebastian, sir. I don't know what you're looking for. All right. I think the mattress garage thing, I think they are wanting to have something, but I don't think it's anything. I think it's a big nothing burger. And I think we need fresh eyes on this case. I think they need to treat this like, and I hate to say that because it's not a cold case, but what happens when a cold case comes along? Every time a cold case gets solved, folks, yes, Chris has a problem with when a cold case gets solved, It's because we get a new pair of eyes that's unbiased, that takes a look at all the information without all the other circumstances, without having connections to the actual person that called. Now remember, Chris and Katie didn't call 911. Katie called Chris, stayed on the phone for 3 hours with him, which took 3 hours. And what did he tell us? 3 hours and 13 minutes or something like that. He gave us the exact time it took him to get from where he was to home. And then they called his police buddy. Okay. So, like the Patolesky Act. So, that is very, very suspicious to me that he has a friend that he called instead of 911. This case needs to be started over with fresh eyes. Right now, we're just in a shit storm of drama. I don't even know what else. Okay, thank you, Annie. 3 hours and 37 minutes, door to door. He knew. He was on the phone with Katie after she heard the thump and everything went down after that. He knew exactly what was going down at the time of the correspondence to the duration that says phone call. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. And that wasn't the issue, but I appreciate you very much. Thank you, Emily, for subscribing and being here. And please continue coming back. Terry Lynn debunked that time, by the way. Thank you, Lisa Rua. Everything Chris has said has been debunked, by the way, because look at how he speaks to women. I'd love for him to come talk that way to me, folks. I don't have a problem talking to men or women. I work with all men. I run a mechanical engineering company, which is all men. Okay? So I would love for him to show up in my chat or to give me a call and see what he has to say. Why is he getting so hot under the collar? Sounds like he has something to hide. He should be trying to help. Yeah, Lisa, maybe you might have rolled in late. I don't know. But I believe that Katie's hiding behind Chris, okay? So we know that there's lots of stories to talk about with Katie. So we're going to get into that next because I told you I'm coming for Katie. I told you that in the last episode. That's why I haven't done anything, because I wanted to look into Katie. I did a background check. I didn't find anything. We didn't find anything. We did find many different names because she was married before. That was about it. But now we know there's lots of family secrets with Katie, and we're going to talk about that. We also know Katie is a big fat liar, okay? And we're going to listen to this one more time because I want you to see how Chris is talking to people and treating people. Instead of searching for his son, he's waking up and going on the internet and finding what us low-level YouTubers are talking about.
Where's Sebastian, tough guy? Chris responds saying probably in your house. Let's just forward this to the TPI. Sally says forward it then. Chris could have left the conversation there, but he had to take it a step further and ask Sally what makes her think he is guilty. What proof does she have? His post reads, let me guess, you sit at home and watch whatever you watch, and write down all the bullshit the web sleuths think they know. You formulate your opinion based on that. Funny thing is you weren't there, nor have you been involved in the investigation, and law enforcement doesn't talk to you. So you don't actually know shit, do you? That's right, you don't. See, if I were you, I would just sit back and watch how all this ends, because harassment is a real thing, and so is a cease and desist letter. Yes, ma'am, you can be tracked down and all.
Now, let me tell you, folks, he's doing to this lady what was done to me this weekend, okay? What was done to me this weekend by multiple people was to shut me up, to censor me, and to tell me that I can't say certain things. And it wasn't by one person, it wasn't by two people, and it wasn't by three people. There was 4 people that came at me all on Saturday night to Sunday. Everybody wants me to shut up and go away. I'm certainly not. I didn't come here for likes and subscribes, but I do want likes and subscribes to get in the algorithm so they can see my face even more and hate me even more than they do and talk about me even more than they do. because I love hearing my name in people's mouth. I love it because then I have a bigger platform. All right. No, but they don't want me to talk. People don't want me saying what I need to say for some reason. I don't understand. Mr. Chris, how does someone ask the where's Sebastian result on saying and forwarding this to TBI? That's what I'm telling you. We have the freedom of speech and we have the freedom of expression, and we can say whatever we want to say. And I don't say things to hurt people. I say things to help people. I've always done that since I've come on here, and I'm going to continue doing that. I don't want to hurt anyone. I want to help people. I want you all to love me. I want to love you, and I want us to be a better and bigger community. All right. Truth hurts people, but I'm not trying to hurt people. I want the truth so we can find these people. I want the truth so that they can come home, even if it is not alive. Hello, Miss Ashley. I got to shout out to you because I love your picture. I can't not love your YouTube picture. How could anybody? I wish I could have one like that. All right. The truth scares people. Apparently it does, because people want me to shut my mouth. Truth hurts. Liars. Absolutely. Freedom of speech. Constitution. Team Sebastian. All right. We're going to finish this and then get to Katie's family.
All your information can be found as well. Just some food for thought for you to consider. Sally then responds saying it's all a game for you. No one is afraid of you, Sebastian was though. Chris replies and says not a game ma'am, but fuck around and find out. Can you imagine? This is the stepfather of a missing child, making threats to women online. I think people are getting sick and tired of Chris trying to boss everyone around and be in control of every situation.
All right. We don't want to see his ugly face anymore. And we do love Nancy's content, even though some people don't like the loudness, but I love Nancy. I love you, Nancy. If you ever see me, I'd love to be on your show and let you torture me and talk crap to me all you want. Do it, baby. All right. So, all right. The truth is the new hate speech, and I agree. I watched Cat Williams last night, and the Netflix show. What is the Netflix show called? I just watched it last night. Funniest thing ever. And it's basically like The Reckoning. He is doing damage control. Yes, Mr. Cat Williams. You can say what you want about Cat Williams. Number one, he's funny. And number two, he tells the truth. Nobody likes the truth to be told, folks. Nobody. All right? So Cat Williams tells the truth. Yes. It's called woke folk. And the year of 2024, we're going to be woke, folks. All right? If that's our theme for 2024, we're going to hear the truth no matter what. Yeah, I love Cat Williams too. Last night I had so many things coming at me sideways that I had to watch Cat Williams so I can laugh my ass off. And you know what he does in his woke folk show? He takes the actual news in that episode, the whole hour long. He took the real life news. I knew everything he was talking about because it was in the news. And he just spilled everybody's tea, but in a funny way. Your baby's supposed to want Skittles. Yes, I love him. I love him that he talks about the size of his. We know what he's talking about. I'm probably already going to get edited, folks. He's a 5-foot guy, man, and he has got to roll out his package. All right. Yeah, we're hearing a lot from this guy in the coming years, and we're going to hear a lot from me, too. All right. Chris called out attention to himself, and now he needs to deal with it. Let's do it. All right, let's go. Let's go. Fast and Furious, everybody. Let's talk about Katie's family. Now, I'm going to talk about Katie's family through JLR. I respect him. There must be a couple of JLRs going around because that man is at every single freaking event. I don't know how he does it. I don't know. But JLR is everywhere. I've seen him everywhere. Every time I look up, JLR is on site somewhere. All right. We got the alarm set for the Woken 2024 is the year of wokeness. Let's listen to JLR talk about the Proudfoot family secrets. I'm not playing the entire video. I'm playing a clip of what he's talking about. He can say it best.
Sister. And you can see.
Hold on, I'm gonna go back because I don't want to.
It was either taken, kidnapped, or
One little bit back. Let's talk about the mom.
I don't know if Katie is on good standing with her mom. Some people say yeah. Some people say no. I don't know. Some people say what she went to prison for is because what happened to Katie.
Let's go, folks.
Is it possible, folks? Is it possible that these people, since Katie was a victim to them years ago, could have sought revenge on Katie? Now we're coming up with theories.
I agree.
But that side of the family needs to be talked about, considering there is a missing child that I don't believe just walked off. And most people don't believe just walked off the porch and vanished. Some people now think he was either taken, kidnapped, or lured out and went somewhere with someone.
All right. I'm going to tell you this here and let you remember. Katie herself and Chris swear on everything that's higher above that Sebastian walked out of the door with no shoes. That's what they say. That's it. That's it. You don't have to watch every single video. He walked out of the door and he didn't take his shoes with him. That's it. End of story. All right. So if he walked out and he didn't have any shoes, then the dogs would have tracked him and found him somewhere. Somebody would have kidnapped him, or he's not alive somewhere in the waters that they maybe been searching. None of that stuff makes sense to me, but that's what they said, not me.
But you're talking about a family lineage on Katie Proudfoot's side of the family that has done the worst to the worst to kids around the same age as Sebastian. Is Katie Proudfoot on good standing with Frances Suzette Rosenbaum? Well, I think she might be, because Katie's commenting on the grandma's Facebook post. The plot does thicken. But why hasn't this even been talked about in reference to her side of the family and the...
Now, I agree. It's really hard to find any information on this unless you're watching a show that's like 5 hours. And I respect the shows that go 5 hours and a bunch of talk and you hear bits and pieces here and there. But I really like the shows that come at you and give you boom, boom, boom. I just found that information and here it is. So it was really hard to find this, and JLR had it. Why are more people not talking about it? Why are the police not talking about it? Why is she not even looking for her son? Why is she not home? Why does her story not make sense? All of the above. And why, number one question, is she hiding behind Chris?
Misfits. Predators. How come it hasn't even been talked about? It's interesting that Katie's sister, this one, who's on probation, she's not in jail. Maybe she's off probation now. Look at the age, 15 years old. This is Katie's half sister. And you can see they almost look alike. So you got her, and you have the mom, and you have this guy, Larry Paul McClure. Larry Paul McClure. So this guy, a registered SO who served more than 17 years in prison.
Now, we're looking at Katie's family right now because we need to look at the person that was there. Davy Jones, you're 110% right. Katie was the only one that was there that night, supposedly and allegedly. She says it herself in every interview. Chris was at work and Katie was there when she heard a thud. After that, Sebastian disappeared from the face of the planet. Period. End of story. So now we're looking at Katie and we're looking at Katie's family. This will help, I promise.
Prison for doing things to a relative is now charged with murdering his own daughter's boyfriend and then marrying her. Now I'm not going to get into the details on this, but just if you get the chance, I encourage all of you to Google Larry Paul McClure, MCCLURE. Oh, and he's married to Kate. Well, he was married to Katie's mom.
So yeah, that is definitely one of the theories I believe, is that Katie didn't bring Sebastian home. Her story doesn't make any sense. They went to dinner, they went back out, they ate. What? They ate and they ate again and they came back out. That didn't make any sense. And the dogs didn't track Sebastian. A lot of things don't make sense about her interview, which means that she's lying. When things don't make sense, folks, people are lying. Remember that. If something doesn't make sense, it's not the truth. I don't know what's so hard about that.
Posted the marriage certificate in our Facebook group. Marriage certificate is right here. The marriage certificate was posted. Okay, hear me out. I did some digging. I could be completely wrong here, but this looks like it could be Katie's half-sibling here. The first picture is uncanny. Frances, Katie's mother, married a guy named Larry McClure in 1995. Marriage license provided below. Also, you see a story on the Larry McClure, a registered SO who MURDER, the daughter's boyfriend, to marry daughter Amanda McClure with the help of another daughter. I'm shocked if this is all connected. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But what are the odds and locations? I mean, think about this. And then someone responds in the comments, nobody can convince me this isn't Katie's half-sister.
Right? It looks just
nobody
like her.
Can convince me this is Katie's half-sister. What do you think? Look alike? Yeah.
Good job, JLR.
They definitely look like each other. So we are on it. Oh, JLR investigates on this particular topic. And I strongly encourage all of you to also be on it. And keep those names out there. Maybe ask authorities.
And we will go back and do that. Let's go a little bit forward so we can see this lady here. Frances Suzette Rosenbaum. This is Katie's mother, I believe. Let's check it out.
Suzette Rosenbaum and Katie's half-sister.
Oh, that's her sister. Okay, Rosenbaum is just the last name.
Care, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? What does that tell you? He called a YouTube channel, by the way, yesterday. We played the recording on JLR Investigates. He called Crime Stories Obsessed. Good channel. Emma, know her personally. She does great work on true crime. Chris felt.
All right, we talked about that. Let's
getting into arguments with others in groups and telling people what would matter in this investigation and what wouldn't. It's a trait of narcissism. I'm aware that it's not the same thing, but it came to my mind that a certain parent of a missing child seems to be exhibiting similar actions on Facebook groups and live streams, namely the arguing and the fighting in Facebook groups.
I'll give you the name later so you can look it up. I got lots of them.
Need to control and steer. Now, that's a very excellent assessment by Laura Conley. And she's basically saying Chris Proudfoot. She's basically saying that Christopher Andrew Proudfoot is kind of doing the same thing here with his behaviors, trying to control the narrative, trying to argue, trying to see what everyone is saying, more worried about what people are saying in the Facebook groups than the actual search for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. So just keep being observed by that. That's a good assessment. And we will continue to monitor that situation later.
And everyone's going to keep monitoring this situation that Chris and what he's doing. Everybody's going to know about it as soon as everyone will know about it as soon as it comes out because that's all the information that we have. We don't have any information about Sebastian. It's all about Chris bullying people and Katie hiding. Now, if Katie's not hiding behind Chris and it's Chris, then they're hiding behind each other. Then they're doing it together. But remember, Katie was the only one there, supposedly. Thank you, Duke Ross, for becoming a new member. Maybe you got gifted the membership. If you did, that's great. Nerdy Cat, thank you for gifting those memberships. All right, let's go into some more. All right, here we got another article.
Email. Now, this is interesting because this is coming from Seth's PIs who are close to Seth. And I think Seth, is kind of gets these tips and then goes and looks into these. And there was talk that Seth went to North Carolina. Law enforcement apparently was in North Carolina, or they definitely were looking into that photo. But now they're saying that a large group of SAR volunteers are coming to Tennessee. Is this to expand the search to also include Tennessee and North Carolina? Or do they feel North Carolina was a nothing, a dead end? Wasn't Sebastian or
Now remember, this is just a bunch of hocus pocus to cover up what's actually going on here. Sebastian Rogers is missing. He was with his mom at the Roadhouse, the Texas Roadhouse, and that was the last time he was seen. So all this other hocus pocus that we have going on means absolutely nothing. The only thing that means anything is that Sebastian Rogers was seen at the Texas Roadhouse with his mom. Okay, and Enid Melendez. I love people that play devil's advocate. I play devil's advocate. Sometimes I split things down the middle, or I say the opposite of what someone else is saying so that we can cut things down the middle and try to get to the real truth. So I appreciate your side.
Wouldn't have been Sebastian. So we're going to keep our eye on that. Again, if you want to help, go out there and help make a difference. Try to find.
Well, let's see what else he has to say about the family.
He also talks about the photo.
Good evening, everyone. Nick Barris coming to you Facebook Live on a Thursday night, 7 o'clock Central Time here in the Nashville.
Now, remember, Nick Barris is I believe he's a newscaster. I think it's Channel 5 News, everybody. Bobby J gifted 1 Guilty of Crime membership. Thank you. Keep coming back. What about the sighting, Sebastian's dad? Sebastian's dad, I don't think he said it was him. I think he thought he was him. It hasn't been verified. I'm pretty sure it's not him. If somebody has, all of it's hocus pocus. There's a lot of stuff that's just taken away from Sebastian. I don't believe that it's him. If it was him, he'd already be returned. Let's listen to what Nick says, which is staying very close. He's the news, and he knows a lot of things that are going on locally.
Area, and it's been a while since I've done a Facebook Live on this topic, but I figured there have been some new developments lately. Several of you have messaged me asking, hey, Nick, would you just kind of go over the latest of what we know about the continuing search for Sebastian Rogers, maybe address some of the rumors and other information that's out there? Glad to do that. If for no other reason, the more we talk about this case, the more we keep it out there for the public to maybe come up with some tips or leads for law enforcement. So before I go back and recap some of it, I'm just going to hit some of the latest developments where I've done what I can to try to get the credible information for you as quickly as I can and answer it. So the most recent development was last night, a YouTuber who has been helping in the search and has been here out looking about, came across a pair of sweatsuit-style pants during the search. I still am not clear on exactly where this was. I didn't watch really the YouTube post that she made, but somewhere in that general region along a creek bed, she found a pair of sweats that resembled what we were told was what Sebastian was wearing the night he disappeared from his home in Hendersonville. And that would have been kind of an Adidas-style sweatsuit, dark with stripes on the side. Okay, so this is something that was found, I believe, in an area that had been searched before. The moment I heard about this, I thought, okay, well, it's definitely worth looking into. Good for her finding that. I immediately had my doubts about whether this was something that law enforcement could have missed. But then again, it's something that may have washed down the creek. Whatever the case, it was collected last night by an officer, ended up going over to the Sumner County Sheriff's Office where the detectives are working this case. He went to the Sheriff's Office, not the TBI. And late this afternoon, Eric Craddock, who is the chief deputy there, who's kind of heading up the investigation, contacted me and said, quote, I'll just read what came back from them. After examination, the pants found are believed to be unrelated to Sebastian Rogers. We are still following up on all leads and tips. Fair enough. Okay, so unrelated. He did not say how they determined it. May have had something to do with size. I don't think they would have had time to test any DNA if there was on there. It's very likely they could have maybe shown it to the parents, maybe looked at it, but for whatever reason, they determined that unrelated. But hey, I'm glad she was out there. I'm glad she found something. I'm glad she brought it for them to look at and ruled it out. Can you imagine if they were his, it would have been a huge break in the case, but not his sweats. The other story,
I'm so glad Nick Barris is doing this. If I had time, I would do this every day as well with all the cases I'm working on. I'd love to sit there and dispel these claims, because what's happening is it's just a bunch of noise being made. Now, there's one thing to keep Sebastian in the light, to keep Elijah Vu in the light, to keep Summer Wells in the light, to keep the missing children in the light, as well as to get justice for children like Corey Michelot and others that we're working on. Sade Robinson. Thank you so very much, Duke Ross. I appreciate you. Everything helps. Only if you can afford to. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will not be quiet, folks. The more you threaten me or talk about me, the more I'm going to talk.
A question about one of the more recent developments just within the last few days. I'm going to scroll back through so I can put it up for those of you who haven't seen it, but there was a photograph taken this past weekend, and you may have seen it. This was at a visitor center in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina.
All right, there it is. He's going through each of the things and making sure that we understand what is happening and what's not, so that we can stop talking about it and move on with fresh eyes and find Sebastian. That's what we need to do, is find Sebastian. All the other stuff is just drama. That's not what we need. We need to find Sebastian.
And a woman there, and I've talked to her friend, who was the one that posted it, who got it from the woman, said that she noticed this young man who very strongly resembled Sebastian. She took that snapshot. My question was, why on earth didn't she just approach him and say, hey, you look just like Sebastian. What's your name? I mean, I can tell you that right now. I'm going to do this. Now, everyone handles it differently. The story I was told back was that this woman was in a rush trying to meet some family, saw it, just thought, hey, that looks a little like him, took a snapshot, and then had to go on her way. And I understand. Fair enough. She took that picture, looked at it later, and then, good for her, she turned it over to the TBI. Her friend then posted it on social media, and everyone is aflutter over whether or not this could potentially be Sebastian Rogers at a rest stop or visitor center in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. The latest on that, and I checked with Eric Craddock this morning, they are still addressing that issue. They have not determined yet whether it is or isn't him. They likely are up there, if they're looking into it, pulling video from this visitor center. I understand there is video there. And maybe pulling that to see if they get a better look. If you've seen the photograph that I just held up to you, sure, it looks a little like him. The hair's a little darker, similar looking eyeglasses, but you can't tell for sure because he's looking down. Could it be him? Possibly. Do I think it is? I think it's highly unlikely. But again, that's something that they're looking into. And at this point, no definitive answer. So they have not said it is. They have not said it isn't. Okay. So the fact that it's taking some time, they're certainly taking it seriously.
So there's the answer, folks. They have not said it is. They haven't said it isn't. If it was him, I would think they would stop spending resources. News stations would stop wasting their time on it. They would stop doing searches. They would go directly to where that kid was seen, and they would look for that child to make sure that it absolutely wasn't him. I think a lot of the things that are happening in the case, and the reason it even got the way it was, is because Chris Proudfoot does have ties to the police department and the police force, and they treaded very lightly in the beginning. So that's the problem. And Katie's not talking. She's talked a couple times. She said the same information that was clearly a lie. And the only way we're going to get to Katie is through Chris. We're getting closer and closer every time he cracks down, folks.
Seriously, and looking into it, I can tell you to this point, there have been no credible sightings, and they have received literally probably dozens of photos turned in from people who anywhere across the country have seen someone that looks like Sebastian, turned it in, and they vetted as many of those as they can and have had to date no credible sightings whatsoever. One other piece of evidence potentially that was found a few weeks back. You may have heard a search crew came across a pair of glasses, eyeglasses in the Gallatin area, actually similar to what Sebastian was wearing. Turned those in. It was determined that they are not his glasses. So the fact that it's not, fair enough, but I'm glad all these people see these things. I'm glad she took this photo.
I am glad that they're doing all of these things, but what's happening is it's clogging up the internet with things that are not real. And so we're here to unclog the internet so we can go look at other cases that are not this when nothing's really happening. When we're just sitting here and we're waiting for 5 days to find out if a pair of sweats or glasses or a picture that's probably, in my opinion, not Sebastian, or they would have already brought him home. Please do not take kindly to somebody hiding somebody else and wasting resources. Okay? Yes, welcome to the crew, everybody that's here. So let's get rid of all the junk. Let's get rid of all the hocus pocus, and let's focus on what's really happening. And what's really happening is Sebastian ROGERS is still missing. And the two people that know about where he is or know about what happened are Chris and Katie. They're the ones responsible for him. Katie was the supposed one that was last with him. She was the last person to be seen with him. She is responsible.
Glad that they turned in the glasses. I'm glad someone found a pair of sweats and brought them. One of these times, one of these leads might connect. And if it does, it could help break the case. So it's great that people do this. The problem sometimes that comes up, and one reason I think a lot of you ask for me to maybe do a Facebook Live, is there's so many rumors continuing to run rampant, and they just go crazy out there, especially when, things like this surface. Like, for instance, in that photograph, a lot of people were saying, well, could that be a real photograph? There was one report from one investigator who told me he thought it might have been something that was artificial intelligence and created that way, a hoax. I believe that photo is legit. I talked to the woman who said she got it from the woman who took the photo, and a lot of people saying, well, did you notice the trees in the background didn't have any leaves? It's April. Why are there no leaves on the trees? That's fishy. No. This is the Blue Ridge Mountains at altitude, and I've since checked photos from that visitor center current right now, and there are trees in that same area that don't have foliage yet. So I believe that photograph's legit. I don't believe it's a prank.
I think that photograph is legit too, but it's not Sebastian in my belief. Again, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and I don't like to waste time. I don't have much time to waste, folks. I don't want to create clickbait so that you can come look at my channel and me not say anything for an hour and a half. I'm trying to come here to say something to you for the time that I have. So listen, I have a real job. This is not my job. I'm doing it to help bring real information and stop wasting time for 5 days on a freaking leaf in a picture. Stop focusing on leaves in a picture and let's go look for Sebastian.
I just think that it's probably not him, but they have not yet said one way or the other. All right, just a couple of other things just to cover. I wish I had more to share with you, but by my count, it's been 66 or 67 days since Sebastian ROGERS disappeared from his home. That was Monday, February 26th, when he was reported missing. It was a day later that they issued an Amber Alert that still remains in effect.
February 26th, folks. Cinco de Mayo just passed. Does that make sense to you? It's May 6th. He went missing in February. It would be really cold in February in Tennessee. Do you understand? In California, it's cold in February. Do you understand that? That means he's been gone that long. And I don't think they're looking for a child that's alive. And I want to thank you so much, Nikita, for giving me a $50 super chat, for being the voice of love. You're truly amazing. From me and the children you give voices to. Thank you, Nikita. I cannot wait to do a members only live with you all because I have so much that I need to say. But I'm not going to make this about me on this platform for Sebastian. I'm not going to do a clickbait and say it's about Sebastian and then start talking about that. So we'll just do one. And if anyone's interested to hear what I have to say, then you'll come on.
There are no longer active professional searches. There have been several of those, okay, that have turned up nothing, nothing whatsoever. They're not calling this a criminal investigation. It is an investigation. I checked with not only people on the record, Ken Widener and Eric Craddock, who are very involved with this. Ken Widener, by the way, Sumner County EMA. Eric, of course, is chief deputy with the Sheriff's Department, heading up the investigation. Contacts of mine also with the TBI and elsewhere say that they continue to not rule out foul play. In fact, they're looking for evidence of it anywhere and have not been able to find it. Not that they've shared with us anyway. With that in mind, again, social media continues to go after the parents. Chris and Katie Proudfoot. Chris is biological.
Did you hear that name? Chris and Katie Proudfoot. Those are the people that are responsible for that child. It doesn't matter if they don't say there's a crime officially. Remember, we're doing the Madeline Soto case, and it took a long time, even with the 60 pictures and 36 pages of photographs and videos that Stephen Stearns had on his phone to charge him. Then we find Madeline Soto 2 days later, I believe. We knew Stephen Stearns was there, and it still took a long time to charge him with that. Speaking of that, tomorrow I'm going to come on and we're going to talk about the trial and what I think about it and what's coming for Stephen Stearns and Jennifer Soto, which I am never and have never been a fan of. And I am coming for you as well, Jennifer. I hope you see this. Jennifer Soto and Katie Proudfoot, two not good mothers. We'll call them momsters, as people like to say.
Stepfather, Katie, is the biological mother. And I just want to say, my understanding is they've passed lie detector tests. Not that that means much because they're not reliable, but that's one indicator. But two, they continue to cooperate. And my contacts with law enforcement say there is nothing at this point to link them to Sebastian's disappearance. And with that in mind, and I've been saying this all along, I don't think it's fair to continue to point the finger at them. You know, we all think, okay, most likely the parents, someone close to him might be responsible. Sure, that's the way it is in a lot of cases. But at this point, no evidence pointing toward them. And the same for the biological father, Seth Rogers. The boy was living with Chris and Katie when he walked away from that house in Hendersonville. But same with Seth. So just putting that out again, I continue to check. Any evidence of foul play? No. But I will say this. I think as they continue, finding nothing in that area whatsoever, okay, from the searches, no one else coming forward with anything. I know that one of the very strong theories they continue to believe is that somehow, some way, Seth was taken or left the area, okay? Taken or left the area. It's highly unlikely that he walked away from that.
Now, remember, Katie and Chris said the doors were locked. So how was he taken from that house if the doors were locked, okay? He didn't have shoes on. The doors were locked. Who would kidnap a 15-year-old autistic boy? Who would do that when the doors were locked? There was nobody that was broken in. Terry Wolf, you absolutely nailed it. Obviously, there's foul play. No matter how you look at it, there's foul play. If he left the house, there's foul play. That if Sebastian Rogers is as autistic and doesn't even know how his address or how to get home or how to unlock a door or how to do anything, that, like they say, she's responsible for him leaving the house, period. Okay, so there's foul play. If somebody kidnapped him, there's foul play. If he didn't make it home from Texas Roadhouse, there's foul play. When someone goes missing and they've disappeared, there's foul play. We're not in the Star Trek world where someone just disappears and they don't come back. There's foul play. The police haven't said it yet. And I believe they're treading lightly because they know Chris Proudfoot and he's got some ties to the police department there.
Fallen into a sinkhole or is somewhere still in that area. Okay. Highly unlikely.
Yes.
So would he have walked on foot and disappeared further away? Perhaps. But the most plausible explanation is either he left on his own with someone. And how did that happen? What was the contact there? How did that play out? Or somehow he was abducted. What was the motive? Why would someone do that? None of that really makes any sense. It just doesn't make much sense. But that's what it comes down to. But again, there's no evidence of that. We know, again, that it was that night. He is said to have left kind of in that sweatpants and a dark shirt with a flashlight and barefoot. And to date, the way I think of it is, why would he have gone out like that quickly, okay, without even putting on his shoes? And we know we talked to his father, Seth, who said that, when he was a boy, he stepped in an anthill barefoot. And again, we've said that Sebastian is autistic. And that experience really rocked him. And since then, according to Seth, Sebastian, except in very, very rare instances, would not leave the house barefoot because he remembered getting eaten up by those fire ants when he was a child. So he didn't do that. So I'm thinking, all right, well, what would spur him on in a moment to go out of that house in the middle of the night with a flashlight and barefoot? It makes me think he heard something or was curious and thought he'd go check with the intention of coming back in. That's just my thought. It's plausible. And whatever he encountered out there is the reason he disappeared. That's my take. Okay. Again, who, why, how? Sir. I have no idea. But that to me seems one of the more plausible explanations. But there's no evidence of that at all. But then there's no evidence either that he really walked away from the area. The dogs didn't hit on much. Nothing along those lines. It's incredibly frustrating. And in the back.
This is one of the only men on the entire internet that's speaking the truth. I don't understand anybody else's point of view. It sounds foreign and it sounds like aliens to me. Everything else everyone's saying just doesn't make sense. And yes, aliens is the only thing I could think of at this point because he's not hiding himself. Every child that's missing should be considered foul play. If you're hiding him, it's foul play. If he didn't come home, it's foul play. If he got kidnapped from your house that was locked, there's foul play. Everything is foul play. And I don't know why they're not looking at that. They do know more than we do, or they wouldn't be doing searches to the extent that they're doing it. He didn't run away.
Vacuum of information, since there's not much new coming out, either from the TBI or law enforcement. We get these pairs of pants or glasses or photographs that surface and they're posted on social media. And I go on, if I can, to try to be as rational and try to answer and give you details if I know them and not necessarily run with it. Because there's some crazy stuff out there on social media. I mean, crazy stuff on some of these podcasts. Armchair detectives were asking questions and doubting whether or not law enforcement is doing this or doing this. And they're just wrong. I've said this from the very beginning and I continue to follow it. I think law enforcement, TBI, Sheriff's Department, and EMA have done a textbook job from the very beginning.
This guy is the local newscaster, Nick Beres, Beres, local newscaster in that area. I guess Tennessee. Most of the newscasters are very local, so they have one for each area. He knows what's going on, and I always go to him for information because he tells us when it's happening, when it's not, what happened, and he gives us the updates as they come. But he never talks about aliens. I've never heard that.
You've done a great job. There's some people, these folks that are out there searching on their own, who come across the sweatpants or come across the eyeglasses. And that's great that they're out there doing it. But a bunch of people out there, and they come across things that are suspicious, and then they call law enforcement, and they're demanding them to get out there and check it out in that moment. And then they all get mad when police don't come out there. There's a lot of crackpots calling in worthless tips, okay?
Yes.
That clearly on their face are, they don't have the resources to waste going after that. They're going after what they believe to be credible tips, okay? So they do go out and look and get these pair of pants to check that out. That's fine. But people are like, well, they don't respond to this call. I haven't heard back from that. Come on. What planet are you from? Do you know how these investigations work? They're not going to get back to everyone in the public who comes to them. They get the tips, they vet them, and I can tell you this. Some of the tips they look at and they go, whatever. Most of them, if they think there's something credible to them, they vet them and look into them. But, complaining because you don't hear back or you're calling them out there to a location where there was a report of some freshly dug dirt on some private property near a park. Why aren't they coming out? Because it was a bogus lead, okay? They don't have the resources.
And there's a lot of bogus leads, people. I'm not going to call out anybody. I'm not going to call channels. A lot of times I put stuff on just as a, what do you think about that? Remember that song, Things That Make You Go, That was a popular song in the 90s. Things that make you go, And that's what sometimes I say is, what do you think about this? I'll show it to you. And normally the crime crew that comes here to this page want real information. So the comments are on point. Things that make you go, exactly. Why didn't they pick it up on the cameras? Why didn't the neighbors pick it up? Has Brink or the security, and they could have manipulated them? I don't know. Katie worked for a company that was a company with cameras, security. You tell me. I'll tell you it's because Katie and Chris are being shady AF. That's why. And thank you, Juror 13, for giving me those perfect words.
Process to respond to every call. And this is a huge story. There's so many people following this, not just locally, but nationally. And everyone just hopes and prays that somehow Sebastian is found alive. The harsh reality, if you talk to anyone that handles these missing persons cases, there are always exceptions. But the chances right now that Sebastian is still out there alive somewhere shrink with every passing day. It just does. That no one sees him, that there's nothing that surfaces to lead to him. I mean, if someone abducted him somewhere, well, he's somewhere and someone could see him or something along those lines. That's the harsh reality here, that I hope he's found alive, first and foremost, or dead, so that we have an answer to this. But that's, something that everyone has to acknowledge. We keep talking about hope and prayers, and let's just wait and see if he's found safe and comes home. I've covered too many of these. I'll always have hope, but I'm also a realist, and the odds that Sebastian is still alive are slim. It's just, that's it. But he could be.
All right, he just nailed it. He said he always is going to have hope, but he's a realist. I just had this conversation with one of the mods before this show, and we talked about what my thoughts were on this, and I said that I don't think Sebastian's going to come home alive. Okay? Not because I'm a negative person, not because I don't want to be positive, but I'm a realist. Realist doesn't mean you're a negative person or you have negative traits or that you're being negative about a case. A realist means realistically and statistically, cases of missing children that go this far out from February 26th to May 6th are not going to be brought home. In very small instances, they will be. Every once in a while, look at the Steven Stainer case. Do you remember I Know My Name is Steven movie? Steven Stainer got brought home later on, way later when he was 15. He went missing at the age of, I don't know if he was 6 or 7, but he came back. I can give you a list of people over the last 25 years that came back. Not very many of them. And the ones that did were highly damaged, and there was still a crime that was committed, folks. I'm being realistic with you, and I'm telling you what I think, how I feel, what the probability of Sebastian Rogers coming home alive is going to be. I think there's foul play. I think we should shift the investigation and start looking at real leads. The real leads begin in Katie's car, in the house, in Sebastian's room, in his closet, at the roadhouse, cameras around the roadhouse, maybe people's cars. I have a dash cam, folks. My dash cam picks things up. We need to look at the evidence. We're looking at smoke and mirrors here, and that's why we're not finding him. If you go on any channel right now and go type in Sebastian Rogers, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there that has cool little images on them, and you're like, oh, maybe I'm going to hear something, and then you hear, I'm not even going to say what you hear. We're still talking about that picture is what we're talking about, honestly. We need to put the pressure on Chris, and that's why I came here today, was to call Chris out. Chris Proudfoot, if you hear me, whether you're a homophobe or not, has nothing to do with it. Come at me. Guilty of crime. You can look me up. Guilty of crime by j@gmail.com. You can yell at me. You can call me names. Just come talk to me. I'll prepare a list of questions for you, and we'll see what you have to say about them. All right? Let's put it on. Come on, Chris. Let's go. I know Katie won't do it because she's hiding, but I'd love for Chris to come on. Come on, Mr. Woman Hater. Mr. Bully. Come at me. Let's go. Terry, thank you. 24 to 48 hours. The likely of a safe return of a missing child is less than 50%. It's probably higher now. You say years ago, it's probably higher. Guilty of crime by j@gmail.com. Come at me. The haters, come at me. I'm saving emails for the hater members only live. We're going to call you out. Ladies, sir, no matter what you are, aliens. All right. We're all waiting, Mr. Proudfoot. We're waiting for you right here. All right. We've got nothing but bad things to say about you, sir. And I'll start with a good list. All right. I'll give you some valid questions. First thing I want to know about is your crane operation that runs at night and why you're on the internet looking at what people are saying about you instead of searching. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you talked about on the phone for 3 hours and 37 minutes when you were on your way home. Let's talk about what Katie told you happened the night after Texas Roadhouse. Let's get your timeline down. Let's talk about the questions they asked you in the when you took your lie detector test. Let's talk about why you didn't tell Nancy Grace, why you didn't take the lie detector with Nancy Grace. Let's talk about why you called Nancy Grace ma'am the entire time, but you're calling other women sluts and calling them names. Are you afraid of Nancy? You should be. I don't know what you're talking about, folks, but I hope you're talking about Sebastian. They never searched for their son, and we saw them at the vigil. They weren't at the vigil, folks. They weren't at the vigil. They were at the Harley Davidson shop looking at new bikes. Hit that like button, subscribe. Let's get in the algorithm, okay? They had an agreement with Nancy and they knew the questions in advance, but they didn't take the lie. Chris Proudfoot didn't take the lie detector test, and then he hid behind the police and said the police advised him not to, and then afterwards he went and took one anyway. That's a lie. What happened between Texas Roadhouse and home? I could keep the questions coming. All right. Let's finish what this man has to say. I still have to go get my daughter and then head back to the hotel.
You need look no farther than someone like Elizabeth Smart. That case where she had disappeared, was abducted, they thought she might have.
That's what I was going to bring up was Elizabeth Smart. She came home. She's one of the rare instances. Steven Stainer and Elizabeth Smart, folks. Over the last 25 or 30 years, those are the only ones. And yes, my dog wants in.
Dead, and years later, she found a way to get away from her abductors. And so there's always possibilities like that. But in general, after this much time, it's a very serious and sad situation. So that's basically all I've got for you on this.
All right. I like the guy's assessment. Reason being, because the law enforcement goes to him. So I always listen to him and hear his updates. What's your thoughts on what he had to say? Do you think Sebastian is still alive or not alive? Do you think every day is losing, hope every day, or the chances each day and each minute pass, the chances of him being found alive become slimmer and slimmer? Do you agree with that assessment? I not necessarily agree with that assessment when you get pictures like, him possibly being seen. This gave me hope. This actually gave me hope. So one thing that's interesting, like he said, they immediately said the pants are not related to Sebastian, just like they immediately said the glasses were not related to Sebastian, but they have not immediately said that this picture is not related to Sebastian or related to Sebastian. They haven't said nothing, and it's been almost a week now. So what is going on with that? Also, I personally, as you know, when I talk about Sebastian Rogers on this channel, I say he was reported missing on February 26th by his mom and stepdad when they called in during the early mornings hours. We know that the last proof of life, really, that a witness saw Sebastian was at the Texas Roadhouse. Texas Roadhouse would be on the evening of the 25th when Katie and Sebastian went to the Texas Roadhouse a little after 6 p.m. on the 25th, according to the waitress. I communicated with the waitress. The waitress had eyes on him. That's pretty much seems like that is like the last proof of life. Remember when Seth said he wanted last proof of life for Sebastian, and they showed him a video of Sebastian leaving the Texas Roadhouse. My question is, what happened at that point? Because we still don't know from that Texas Roadhouse what time Katie Proudfoot and Sebastian, if it was Sebastian that returned home with her, what time Katie Proudfoot returned home on the night of the 25th. So that's why I never say, hey, Sebastian, for a fact, walked out of his house, because I'm not believing the version of Katie Proudfoot until there's evidence of that. And I've spoken with neighbors. There's no video footage out there of Sebastian being seen in that neighborhood. After that, upon returning home, Katie claims that Sebastian went out and took the trash out. No evidence of that. No video footage. Neighbors told me there's nothing. So what is going on?
All right, and Jailer might be loud, but I guess he's been doing this for a long time, and he's got to be loud to be heard. I don't know. But he's getting the truth out there. He's out there, folks. He's boots on the ground, and I cannot say that enough. When you're boots on the ground and you get to see for yourself, this guy's everywhere. It's like there's two of him. And yeah, somebody said earlier it's because he doesn't have a family and he's single. And I agree. If I didn't have a family, if I didn't have 4 dogs, 2 kids, and a wife, I'd be out there also. boots on the ground, but I just have to take care of my family here. But we rely on JLR to say things like this. Yeah, my teddy bear, my Bichon, my baby. I got a Bichon, 2 Yorkies, and a Maltipoo. I love my dogs. They make me feel better. Yeah, JLR is a go-to no matter what. He's telling it like it is. Let's finish this up so I can go get my daughter.
On here? Did Sebastian really return home? And is Katie telling the truth about the chain of events that transpired?
That's right.
And I'll continue to say that until law enforcement, I love law enforcement to say for 100% fact that Sebastian returned home with Katie on the night of the 25th.
Thank you.
Until otherwise, I'm going with where Sebastian was last seen and what happened at that point. And that would be the Texas Roadhouse. We are covering this case extensively. A lot of people are in the chat this morning. Katie Proudfoot's side of the family are no good. They're bad. They're evil. They've done acts on people the same age as Sebastian. And maybe they should be looked at. All of them. Whether one of them did something or not, whatever, vet through each and every one of family members of Katie Proudfoot, and law enforcement should get the communication devices of Katie and see if she corresponded with any of these people from Virginia, from North Carolina, from Wisconsin, from West Virginia. That's these McClure, Rosenbaum, Payne.
Okay, why haven't they is my question. Why haven't they done that? Something's wrong. We need fresh eyes. We need to treat this like it's a cold case. At this point, that's a cold case, folks. When you can't find a young boy that's been gone that long, that didn't have shoes and highly autistic, like they say, that's a cold case. Bring someone fresh in, start over. Hi, sweet misery. We're going to have a members only as soon as I announce it. I haven't announced it yet. I have somebody helping me with it. They're going to help me come up with questions. We'll talk about that later. I don't want to interrupt about Sebastian, Juror 13, but I do love you.
Land. That's where they're all from. And there's so many of them because different people marry different people and have kids. And, excuse me. Cat allergies. We love our cats.
And our dogs. And it doesn't matter if they have the original cell phones or not. We got cloud data, folks. We got the cloud now. We don't need any of that. It's all towers and clouds. And you could look it all up. If everybody uses iPhones, my dog's sitting right next to me and squealing. So I'm a good dog, Mama. I promise. All right. Let's finish this up.
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
we do.
Did that. And then also, folks, has one of these people on Katie's Proudfoots as a possible scenario in this situation went to the Proudfoots to do harm to Sebastian or lure Sebastian out? Or did Katie intercept anyone on the way home from Texas Roadhouse or meet anyone and stop and do an exchange and take Sebastian far away? I know we've been focusing a lot on the Proudfoot, Bower socks, but today we focused on McClure's, Rosenbaum's, Payne's. Don't forget Penny Payne. Boy, throw that name out there too. Penny Payne. She's another one. Penny Payne. Look her up. Penny Payne.
Hear that, Jess?
Another one that did egregious things.
Penny Payne, Jess.
We are Sebastian's army. Keep Sebastian's name out there. If anything else breaks, I'll let you know. If Chris Proudfoot talks on any podcast or he makes his cat.
All right. So we heard that. Thank you, JLR, for letting us use your platform. We appreciate that. Your boots on the ground, and I think lots of people love you, and I think lots of people help you out, and lots of people probably do the right things with you. We saw you on was it Court TV not too long ago, and I know they loved your boots on the ground stuff, so thank you for lending it to Guilty of Crime. All right. Yeah, there's lots and lots of questions. I wish I had answers to them. I think I have all the answers for tonight. The only question I have after this is, where's Sebastian? That's the only question. Where's Sebastian, folks? All right. That's the only question we should have right now is, where is Sebastian? Let's look for him. Get the word out. A lot of keyboard warriors around here. Please use those keyboard warrior hands to get the message out that we're looking for Chris, that we're looking for Katie. Come this way. We'll talk to you. We'll get Deception Detective in here. If Deception Detective isn't available, we'll do it. I mean, of course, I'll do it myself, but Deception Detective wants to interview them. So get the word out. If they're more comfortable with a man, we've got DD. If Chris thinks he can handle a woman, come my way. Let's do this. Everybody, let's find Sebastian. Love and light to you all. Remember, we're looking for Sebastian. That's what it is. Where's Sebastian? Chris and Katie Proudfoot, you know. And on that last note, Maya says hashtag find Sebastian, hashtag Sebastian Rogers, hashtag missing. And that's where we leave off, everybody. We're going to have a members only live soon. I love each and every single one of you. Thank you for all of the support tonight. Hit that like button on the way out. Comment. All of that will get us in the algorithms. And then I'm coming for every single person that's coming for me.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?